Welcome to another episode of Intelligent Ignorance. I had to laugh at myself. I was looking at the countdown and I was like just counting with it. And then I forgot. I was like, oh, I got to mute my mic. I was getting ready to talk and I was like, my mic's not on. But welcome back to another episode of Intelligent Ignorance with R. Hunter, and myself, Mr. J.
What's
Chris,
up?
Mr. J. Watson Radio Man. We are here. It is coming down to the end of the year. Just a couple weeks, about a week and a half left. 2.5 weeks left.
Yeah.
So 2021, putting a final couple sentences on the year that was 2020. What a year.
Man.
What a year. Like,
that's an understatement.
It is. It is. I try not, like, there's been and everybody been harping on the bad things that have happened this year, right? And there have been many bad things happening this year. And it
That's real.
Start with the Kobe Bryant. Okay, I'm not going to get into it, but you know what I'm talking about. And then just kind of went downhill from there. I mean, I don't know how much further downhill you can go after that day. I mean, that the day the world actually like stopped.
Yeah, man.
And then now, you know, but we're coming to the end. We're coming to the down the home stretch.
It's the season finale.
I've learned so much in this year. I mean, when I think about it from a business standpoint, from a money standpoint, from so many different standpoints, I've learned so much this year. I was determined to, in the face of what you would call whatever 2020 is, I wanted to come out better than I was and not be one that was going to fall victim to what the year was becoming.
That was going to be my question to you, was do you feel that at this point in the year you're better off than when you started it? So you kind of already answered that question.
Yeah, I do feel I'm better off in certain areas than when I started the year. If you remember, I know you remember because we talk all the time. I started the year with blood pressure issues. And
I'm ending the year with blood pressure issues. But that's a whole nother topic. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that on the next episode.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get Sean on, and we'll talk to Sean about this.
Yeah, he'll get us right.
I say he will get us right.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like I've become a better person in many ways. You know, and I hope to continue to grow as a man and as a person in 2021, just to continue to elevate myself and escalate my standing and get more subscribers on the YouTube channel. So definitely, if you're watching right now, definitely subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Please do.
And you know, it really helps. People say that, but it really does help. But how about you? I mean, same question to you. Your own question, really.
Man, it's so to straight up answer no. But it's just been so much going on this year.
No.
Like, no, to be completely honest, like, hey, I went to the doc this morning. My blood pressure was 180 over 110.
Wow.
And yeah, she was like, you know what? My doctor keeps it real. And she was like, what in the hell are you doing? She said, I'm looking back at your chart this time last year. She said, you came in here, you were 45 pounds lighter. She said, now I know that you did put on some muscle over the course of the year. She said, but you know, it looks like with COVID, you have kind of let that muscle go to the wayside. So yeah, physically, mentally, emotionally, I have probably not put myself in the best position to make 2020 a successful year, but I'm already laying the groundwork for a successful 2021. And I mean, you know, the whole new year, new me thing is so cliche, but it starts now. So we started last month and we started taking those steps.
Absolutely. I mean, we kind of talked before about, you know, starting the 2021 push early.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're going to start it early. I mean, a lot of people wait for that ball to drop and say, I'm going to change. We wanted to start it early, just get a head start on our own self to make some things happen. But if you're checking us out right now, absolutely go ahead and hit the follow or subscribe button or whatever the case is, wherever you're checking us out at. Follow New Twist Radio YouTube channel. Of course, text us at 215-486-0335 if you have any comments that you want to put in, or you can put the comments in the comment box. But we really want you to text that number.
Yes.
Very, very important to join our community right there. Few things that you wanted to talk about, we wanted to talk about today. Of course, the elephant in the room is Christmas is a week from tomorrow.
Oh man,
Christmas is a week from tomorrow. How hard are you getting hit?
It is. So I'm really getting hit by another topic that we're gonna hop into a little bit later.
Mm-hmm.
But I was well in advance. I did all of my Christmas shopping.
Okay.
But I'm sitting here following all of the tracking numbers for my Christmas presents. And I'm kind of getting close to the wire, so I feel like this weekend I'm going to go out and do some more shopping to maybe potentially replace some things that I don't feel are going to get here on time. But one thing that I do know is this year doesn't feel like Christmas in a sense of everything else that's going on in 2020. I'm trying harder right now to get into that Christmas spirit. We had the snow. That helped a little bit.
Up here in the Northeast. Yeah.
In the Northeast, we got that nor'easter. I think we got here in Delaware maybe about 4.5 inches. So
yeah, I think we got about 5 to 6 maybe here.
So the weather, I threw on my classics. I threw on Silent Night from the Temptations. I threw on Let It Snow, Boys to Men, and Brian McKnight.
Right.
Donny Hathaway, This Christmas. So, when you hear those songs, you can't really help but to get into that Christmas spirit.
Most people say that Christmas doesn't start for them until they hear Silent Night by the Temptations.
Yes.
I felt that way for a while until one year I didn't hear it until like the day, 2 days after Christmas. It was crazy. So, well, I mean, to talk about something that you just said, saying it doesn't feel like Christmas. And I get what you're saying, because I feel like it doesn't feel like Christmas, not only because of the year that it's been, but because of the year that it's been, we're not going out in the hustle and bustle, fighting the traffic and stuff like that. And for that reason, to me, it doesn't feel like Christmas. Like I'm not fighting I'm not fighting anyway, but fighting traffic, fighting in the stores, trying to find the right thing. Like that's not where I am with it right now.
And it's so funny because I was watching, and I can't even remember what the name of the movie was. I know you'll remember it when I say it. It was the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie when he was going out to get Turbo Man.
The Santa Claus? I know the movie you're talking about.
That was Tim Allen. Santa Claus was Tim Allen.
I know the movie you're talking about, but I can't remember the name.
So I watched that and I was thinking, and I'm like, what is this year's Turbo Man? Because every year we have that
PS5.
thing. Well,
it's the PS5. I'm telling you, because little kids want it too. It's the PS5. It just goes over like a wide span of wanters. But what did you come up with?
Well, I couldn't think of anything because, I mean, realistically, the two things that come to mind immediately are the two most impossible to find, which are the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. They're both impossible to get right now.
Right.
But we know that that's something that has been controlled by the stock. So that was planned to be that way.
Absolutely.
So we knew that it was going to be extremely limited. December 26th, we'll be able to find it everywhere, I'm sure. But leading up to it, it was extremely limited. And I started thinking and looking, and I'm like, what is that toy? And then
what is the Super Soaker? That's what you're saying. What's the Super Soaker? What's the
because remember,
Rock'em Sock'em Robots?
When we were coming up, we planned this well in advance, because what did we get that doesn't exist anymore?
What did we get for Christmas that doesn't exist anymore?
Before Christmas, we got that Toys R Us. We got the Toys R Us catalog.
Oh, and the Wish book. Remember the Sears Wish book?
It came out well in advance, and I mean, we would circle the stuff on the pages.
Yeah, absolutely right.
There's no toy store anymore. There's no.
Well,
it's
you're
effectively gone.
Yeah, there's no Kitty City. There's no Toys R Us. There's no KB.
Right.
I can't
Target
think
and
of
Walmart. Like those
Target,
are toy stores.
Target, Walmart,
Amazon. Those are toy
Amazon,
stores.
Kohl's. I was in Kohl's the other day. There's a lot of toys in Kohl's. Yeah, there's no toy stores now. I see what you're saying.
Right.
Um, and
KB, like all of those places are
all the
gone.
catalogs
Yeah.
are online.
Right.
So they just go online.
Well,
And
because everything's digital now.
yeah, send me the links so I can see exactly what it is that you want. Send me. Don't even send me a picture. Send me the link, and maybe I'll
I
just
don't
order right from it.
I don't want the links no more. I wanna
Well, I'm
go
not
to
going to
the
the
old
store.
school day.
I'm not going to the store.
I like that. I like the crowd. I like getting out and seeing the we missed the Black Friday experience this year. I mean, there were just so many things that COVID took away.
I have one Black Friday experience.
Oh man, look,
One.
I will tell you, my mom used to make us get up at
Really?
5 o'clock in the morning,
And had
and
y'all out there, huh?
we would be in lines, and we would be in
Wow.
stores, and I mean, this is what 97, 96. I mean, yeah,
My one, what's this, 2020? My
yeah.
one Black Friday experience might have been like 10 years ago.
Wow,
Maybe more than that. But yeah, maybe might have been a little more than 10 years ago. And it was at Christiana Mall. I was walking around Christiana Mall and there were so many people there. I didn't even go in the store. I left and went to work because I had to go to work. But I left and went to work that morning.
Yeah.
It was crazy. I'm not doing this, and I'm done with it. I'm done with it. But Christmas, and that kind of leads us into the post office.
Oh man.
And I know you have a bone to pick with the post office right now, brother. But before you go into that, I want to tell people to hit that subscribe button. Text the community number scrolling right there at the bottom of the screen right now. Let us know you're checking in with us, and tell all your friends to come check in with us too, because we're going to talk about Gianulli in a little bit. Olivia Gianulli. We're going to talk about the Negro League's acceptance in a little bit. So definitely bring some of your people on, because it's going to turn into a deep conversation. But your gripe with the post office right now is it a true gripe or is it just frustration?
It's frustration. My gripe isn't even with the post office. I mean, because right now it's a global pandemic. It's not just affecting one area. It's not affecting one subset of people. This is everywhere in the world right now.
Correct.
It just so happens that majority of our movement goes through the post office. And I mean, that's for anything, whether it's just regular mail. For example, I sent out Christmas cards on the 15th. I can guarantee, I would be surprised if anybody calls me before Christmas to tell me thank you for the Christmas card that they got.
And you know what's crazy? We sent out Christmas cards. What's today? The 16th?
Yeah.
We sent them
17th.
out. Today's the 17th. Yes. We sent them out, I want to say last week. And for the most part, from the best I know, everybody has gotten them.
Wow.
I know people here in the area have gotten them, but I know people out of town in South Carolina have gotten them.
Oh wow.
I had one going to Florida. I know I had one going to Vegas, a couple other places. But yeah, I do know family in South Carolina did get it maybe 2-3 days later.
So maybe there's still some hope. But I want you to look, yeah, you ain't even gonna be able to see it. It won't even focus on it. But everything that I have is in transit, arriving late, in transit, arriving late, in transit, arriving late.
Wow.
I mean, this is where we are right now.
What do we do about the post office, man? I mean, it really seems like the backups happen. I hate to say it, but a couple months ago, when whatever was going on with the government and the post office,
when Trump said what he was doing, when Trump made those comments about the post office and taking services away, everything slowed down.
Everything slowed down, and it's been like that ever since. Like, I would love to say that this is an issue because of the pandemic and Christmas, but this has been going on for about 2 months. It's been going on 2 months now.
Just trying to rationalize it as a business owner And also, as someone who works in a corporate industry, what is the one thing that happens November, December every year at work? You got a ton of people taking PTO because that time has to be used by the end of the year. So I can
Yep.
guarantee you the post office has a ton of people on PTO. One. Two, the post office has limited capacity because of COVID restrictions. You can't have as many people in there as you normally would.
True.
Number three, we're waiting last minute to get everything out. And not to say last minute, I still have orders that I've shipped out around Black Friday that have not made it to customers yet, which is,
Yeah.
in my eyes, is ridiculous.
I was going to say when in that situation, that's crazy. I was going to say we're not necessarily waiting till the last minute to send things out, but we are because we're actually waiting until the time that we're used to sending things out, which is
Right.
the last minute. But the post office always made it work.
Right.
It ain't going to happen this year. At
Not
least it
this
doesn't
year.
seem that way. It's not going to happen
No.
this year. So try to get your stuff out early. I definitely still have some shopping to do. I'm one that used to love going out on Christmas Eve and just getting stuff for everybody on Christmas Eve. Like that would be the one day I did my shopping. That kind of ended when I want to say when I left my 20s into my 30s. I still did it into my 30s because I just had that motivation. It was just kind of that's what I did. That's what I was used to.
Right.
That kind of ended with the whole Amazon uprising and all like that. I was able to get things early. So
Amazon is huge for the culture. It's huge for getting it. I mean, right now I can order something on Amazon and have it here in a couple of hours.
Yo, speaking of Amazon, real quick, can I give a shout out to Mackenzie Scott? I just want to give her a shout out only because the only reason I'm giving the shout out, quite honestly, is what up, Goose? Goose said he's a Christmas Eve shopper too. What up, Goose? Check out the 10/7 show Sundays at 7 p.m. live right here on the New Choice Radio YouTube channel.
Goose, your packages are on the way, Goose. The packages are on the way. Oh, well, hold on. Let me not say that because I don't know if she told you the packages are on the way. My fault. Tara, your packages is on the way. Miss Goose, your packages is on the way. I didn't mean to cause any conflict over there in the Turner household. I apologize. My sincerest of apologies.
And now I completely lost track. Oh, Mackenzie Scott. Shout out to her.
Scott.
She has made over $4 billion in donations. And one of the donations went to my alma mater, our alma mater, the University of Maryland Eastern Shore, $20 million. We appreciate it. Hopefully that's money that the alumni won't have to ask me for. I already got my letter. I actually got my letter sitting right there where they were like, yeah, if you want to donate to the University of Maryland Eastern Shore, boom, boom, bang.
So you got a letter. I got the email.
Oh, you got I probably got the email too, but I just don't open. I don't open emails that are not like directly to me from like a person, you know what I mean, or somebody I'm expecting an interview from. So but shout out to Mackenzie Scott, man. You're doing big things. And somebody said that's real FU money. That's the FU money. All that came in the settlement.
Yes.
We're going to move on from the post office, right? Because
let's leave them alone.
As baseball players, there was an article that came out yesterday. I believe it was yesterday.
Yesterday.
I don't know when the announcement happened, but the article came out yesterday. And it was basically, long story short, the Negro League records are now being accepted as records for the MLB. And when I first read this, this is pre-show. This is what I didn't say to Ryan as Ryan was explaining some things to me, because the art of surprise is fun in these shows, at least to make it look that way. When I first read the headline, my initial reaction was, cool, but why now? And I know now it's like a whole thing. All these companies and businesses are having awakenings, and they're trying to not be the last one to make some type of movement towards African Americans that say, "Hey, we accept you too." Every business doesn't want to be. There's no business wants to be the last on that boat unless it's owned by Trump or something like that, right? Sorry, I didn't say that. My bad.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. And there's so many. I'm going to let you get in because I know we want to talk about the article and stuff like that. Why has the MLB up to this point never really acknowledged the Negro Leagues up to this point? Because if you think about it, like the fact that we call the MLB Major League Baseball and the Negro Leagues is an elitist thing in itself mentally.
Right.
Because it's always been called Major League Baseball, right? So you would believe that this is the best and only league that you have to pay attention to in what we have, which is probably what the owners wanted you to believe anyway, right? It's good business to have that. But the Negro Leagues was also a professional organization. And I want to talk to the article because I don't want to take any shine away from the article, but I had the conversation with my daughter about Jackie Robinson, the importance of what he did, and what he did, or I shouldn't say what he did, but the symbolism of what he did that no one talks about.
Right.
Nobody ever focuses on. Okay. Tyra had to have a little laugh at Mrs. Goose. You saying Mrs. Goose. But I'm going to let you go ahead and talk about the article because there is a little passage in the article that I actually wanted to read. But go ahead. I'll let you talk about it if you're ready to talk about that. The article coming from the Undefeated.
Well, I mean, and to preface it, for me, as a descendant of a Negro League star, someone who is in the National Baseball Hall of Fame. It's not a Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. It is a National Baseball Hall of Fame. This is not just for Major League athletes, as people think. People think that when you're only in the Hall of Fame as a Major League Baseball player, which is not the reality of it. But
and while you say that, let me just step in real quick. And Ori says MLB was tainted until 1947. The Basketball Hall of Fame is not the NBA
NBA Hall of Fame, right?
But baseball and football, baseball's Hall of Fame is the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. Football's Hall of Fame is the NFL Hall of Fame. I don't know what hockey's is. I'm sorry, hockey fans. Just know it's probably. I don't even know if they have a Hall of Fame, but sure. I'm sure they like everybody has one, right?
Well, no. The Baseball Hall of Fame is the National Baseball Hall of Fame. It's not a Major League Hall of Fame.
You're right. Yeah. You're absolutely you're right about that. But it's not. But the Negro Leagues were never involved.
Correct, and that they were, but not to the extent as they should have been.
Exactly.
Which is why we have a Negro League Hall of Fame in Kansas City.
Right. I want to talk about that too, but I'm going to pick my feet up off the floor. Let you have the floor again. Kind of jumped in.
No, you're good. And I'm just going back to it. And I was actually made aware of the article earlier today. It's the article from Clinton Yates on the Undefeated. And it's titled MLB Elevating the Status of Negro Leagues is the Problem, Not the Solution. And just the title of the article alone made me think, because so while I'm extremely proud that these individuals are now gaining a semblance of acceptance, which so eloquently timed with the 100th year anniversary of Negro League Baseball, it really just makes you think, why now?
Absolutely. And we know why now.
We've never discounted the contributions of these men to the game, especially because the game needed to take these players to elevate it to another level. The integration of African American players took Major League Baseball to another level. And it's interesting that to this point, Major League Baseball still minimalizes the African American athlete because baseball only has less than 10% of their players as African Americans.
that is a whole nother thing there that we'll probably have to touch on that
That's
another
another
time.
show.
But
Yeah.
but when you say why now, part of me feels like the why now is a lot of organizations are taking their licks, taking their hits for really not acknowledging the efforts of Black folks up until 2020, right? For Major League Baseball to have to acknowledge the Negro Leagues, let's think about it now. For Major League Baseball to have to acknowledge the Negro Leagues, that would mean they would have to acknowledge the fact that they didn't allow Black folks to play the game into their
Right.
league. The first Black man to play Major League Baseball was not Jackie Robinson. Jackie Robinson was the first Black man to break the color barrier. So there was a time when Blacks were allowed to play, but then they decided there's going to be a time. The time is now back in the 1800s. No more Blacks to play our game. No more Blacks in this league, in which Blacks came together, formed their own league, right now known as the Negro Leagues.
Right.
And were able to, think about what they were able to accomplish. They created a league, and it's not like, okay, you're a commissioner of a league in Delaware.
Right.
It's difficult enough dealing with the different people, and y'all are all in the same area.
And we have 100 people locally.
They had to deal with people all in different parts of the country. Had to get their travel, had to, get their reservations and all like that. Mind you, they probably more than likely had to, they know more than likely they did have to stay in places that accepted Black people's money.
Right.
Okay. So the fact that in 2020 they are now acknowledging the records of the Negro Leagues. Kudos to the Negro Leagues. To the major leagues, I say about damn time.
But here's something interesting. So,
but I'm sorry, real quick. Right. If they had been acknowledged earlier, right? Just think about some of the baseball players we would know about today. Like, think about that. Like, the fact that the Negro Leagues have not been acknowledged, just people don't know about it because they feel like it was a lesser league.
Right.
These were professionals who, go ahead. I'm picking up my flow. I'm picking up my flow. What do you think?
So, interesting fact, 1956, Jackie Robinson's last year in Major League Baseball. Last year.
Okay.
You know what the African-American percentage was in baseball at that time?
And that was his 9th year in the majors, right?
Yes.
I know Lou Doby was the year after him.
I mean, just percentage-wise,
right,
overall.
Right. Percentage, I would have to say, what percentage of Major League Baseball was Black when he retired? 2%.
6.7% of Major League Baseball in 1956 was African American.
Maybe there's something wrong with me.
You know what it is today? I just said it. 7.7%.
6.7%. So it's 1%.
1% increase. 1% increase.
And that's just Blacks. That's not Hispanics. That's not
just Blacks. Just Black African players that identify as African American.
So let me take this from the article. There was a passage that I wanted to take from the article, but I'll post the article to the New Source Radio page on Facebook. Okay. One sentence that I took from that article when I read it: Black baseball players taught the Japanese how to play the game.
Yes. So
a sport that was basically taken from cricket, right? Over in the United States, changed the game to baseball. They take it over to Japan. People don't. I don't even know if they play cricket in Japan at all, but they wasn't playing baseball. And look at Japan. Look at the scene over in Japan right now.
We were watching baseball when there was no Major League Baseball. What were we watching?
Oh, you're talking about the Korean.
Yeah, We over there.
because we're fans of
We
the game.
watching KBO at 4 a.m.
Because we're fans of the game. And now, like, look at it's a global game. Look at the kids in the Little League World Series. They come from all over the world.
Yeah.
All over the world. And maybe black folks made it a global game. I don't know if they taught more than the Japanese, but they taught people. And you told me, you schooled me on something one time we were talking about the Negro Leagues. From some you learned some information about the black teams would sometimes play teams from the MLB, would sometimes play the white teams.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the black teams will win, sometimes the white teams will win. It was very even.
It was extremely competitive.
Yeah. So, I mean, I would really love to know why the major two things I wonder about Major League Baseball. One's about black folks, one's about a white person. Why Major League Baseball right now is ready to acknowledge the Negro League. Why haven't they acknowledged the Negro Leagues up until then? Right. And of course, talking about that museum, is Major League Baseball going to take over the control of that museum?
Funding. They should. They should make a sizable charitable donation towards funding. Now, so
before you go on, the one other thing, because I'm going to forget if I don't say it right now. The one other thing I always wonder about Major League Baseball is, are they going to allow Pete Rose into the Hall of Fame before he's dead? Probably not. But go ahead. The funding for the museum.
No, they won't. But that's a whole nother show for
a whole nother show again. Absolutely.
And what was I going to say? It wasn't about the museum though. Oh, so I wanted to go into why I think there's more acceptance now. There's no fact behind this. There's no merit. It's just my very, very explicit opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I believe, because for one, just like I gave you the numbers, it went from 6.7% to 7.7% in half a century. Why recognize it now? Because they realize, one, and let me go back into the history of this. Baseball is $1 billion game. It's the only game without a salary cap. Players are going to make what they want to make. We talk about Bryce Harper commanding north of $500 million. We talked about Garrett Cole getting that type of money. You know who we didn't talk about getting that kind of money? Mookie. The only African-American player that they push to the forefront of that. And I know they hate calling that man Mookie. But another story. To get into it, they see these other leagues. They see basketball.
Mm-hmm.
They see football. Those are the American sports. What are they dominated by? African-American athletes.
Yeah, more basketball more so than football, but yeah, absolutely.
There are, and I think I'm pretty sure we're in the same Facebook group for Black baseball coaches. I'm not sure if you're. So
I sent you. I told you.
Yes, I think you invited me into the group.
Absolutely.
But there was conversation in the group at one point about why they take our children from our communities and turn them into center fielders. And it's, because the Black athlete can run. They're good at running. So that is the space where most of the running occurs, in the outfield.
Mm-hmm.
But Black players can be shortstops. They can be second basemen. They can be catchers. They can be pitchers. We can dominate these games. And I think we saw it more, especially when the team out of Philly came, Little League World Series. It lends more to the belief that, hey, these kids can be substantial athletes, like Monet Davis.
Let me tell you about them. I'm sorry, I keep stepping on your toes, but I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
I gotta put this out there. So this summer, I was coaching baseball this summer. Actually, the team I was coaching, we had a chance to play against that same organization, the Monarchs. But we were a team that we were just behind. We were a 16U team, so Monet Davis played for the 18U team. She was still playing. She still plays baseball.
Yeah.
So she was on the 18U team
while playing softball.
She
at an HBCU.
At an HBCU. And those boys we played, let me tell you, them boys could rake. And for those that don't understand what I'm saying when I say rake, they can hit the ball hard. One boy, I was one of them put one out the park. Let's put it that way. And they were sharp. They were good. Their Major League Baseball. Now let me give them a flower. Major League Baseball does have the RBI program, in which a program in which I have coached in. They reach out to the urban youth, inner city, urban, areas like that don't have baseball programs, or they're trying to get baseball programs, stuff like that. So they do have that. But I really feel like to get baseball back into our neighborhoods, the people that actually played have to get involved. Like you and I, we have to get involved in the local baseball organizations. We have to get involved with the school. We coach at schools, but we got to get involved with the schools because, what does the coach at a high school, what's their philosophy? They need to be learning that from a young age because that coach could still be there. They need to be learning these things. So, the game is not what it was when we were coming up, right? 30 years ago, the game was different than what it is now and for that age group.
Yeah.
We got to do better. We got to do better. Major League Baseball let's be honest, folks. Major League Baseball doesn't have to do a doggone thing, right? They're making their money, right? But they also know that Black people spend money and like baseball too when they come up playing the game, and that's more money that they can also make. Go ahead.
I was about to say, so you're going right into my next point.
Let's do it.
When I talk about, basketball and football, they are making so much more money off of the Black athlete. One, their expenses are lower because they control those athletes. That's why you see LeBron James talk so much about how players make their money. You see the shelf life of football players and how little money they can make because one injury changes the dynamic of everything for them. Baseball, you have players that have 20 to 25-year careers, professional baseball players. The top players are not African American, and they're making money for a quarter of a century playing a game. That's low impact on the body. There is the risk for injury, but
riskier depending on what position you're playing.
But where's the biggest untapped market for Major League Baseball? The African American community. Absolutely. Black people don't come out to watch baseball games because there are no Black athletes playing baseball, which is why they invested in the RBI program. If we can now put the money into the youth systems and build these youth up to become at some point the professional athletes that we need to help grow our game, it makes us more money because the marketable Black athletes fill seats.
Absolutely. They do fill seats. Think about this. Sports, there are sports that are basketball and football are hurting sports all over the place.
Of course.
And this is why I say that. A lot of times you would have and football kind of is loose. Okay, so most of the time you have an athletic, a big athletic, let's say 6'5", 6'7", and like 250 pounds. They're most likely going to be a football player. Right. That's what the streets assume. A lot of them are becoming boxers. So football's losing in that standpoint. Okay, but vice versa, boxing is losing because those big guys are more than likely becoming football players, and the heavyweight division is what it is right now.
Right.
Okay. The best divisions are the ones that are people that are the weight of people that you see walking around the streets, right? Just average people. Your athletes are not turning to baseball because it's not seen as an athletic game. The athletes are turning to basketball. That gets a lot of attention on many different levels. I've been to youth basketball games where the stands were packed. Youth.
Oh yeah.
Youth. The stands were packed. I've been to youth football games where the stands were packed. I've been to youth baseball games where not a soul was in the stands.
Parents, they're the only ones that show up, and half the time the parents don't come.
And that's only when they're really young.
Right.
That's only when they're really young.
That's because the parents have to be there. How many fans did you have at high school baseball games last year? Well, not last year since we didn't play baseball last year. But how many fans did you average?
So, do I average? I would say maybe on a good day we would have 20 to 30 on a good day. But let me tell you why. More than likely, it's not because they like baseball. It's just because they like the people that's on the team.
Right. That goes to show you where the marketability is. It's not the game; it's the athlete.
Right. You go to a high school game to watch the game.
Right.
Oh, excuse me. Let me rephrase. You go to a high school basketball game, football game to watch the game.
Right.
You go to a baseball game in high school, most likely to watch your friends.
The athlete. Right. And I could tell you, even coming up, my high school days, the only people that came to the game, my parents didn't come to my high school baseball games.
My parents were working during my high school baseball games.
Exactly. The girl or girls I was dating at the time came to my games. That was it.
They had you definitely wanted them there, right?
And they love the baseball pants. Whole nother thing. Yeah.
I don't understand, but whatever. It ain't for me to understand.
But the athlete is what's marketable. So now by elevating the Negro League status to major league athlete, it's putting that on the same level. Hopefully there will be more public acknowledgement of the athletes that were exceptional during that time period.
That's what I'm excited about.
So
they're going to acknowledge the athlete that was the Negro League.
So now, because one thing, Jackie McMullen actually brought it up today. She said, Hank Aaron, does the home run record change? Because he hit home runs in the Negro Leagues.
Right.
Does the home run record change now?
Now, how many home runs did he just add what he did? Add his numbers.
You added, which I want to say, I believe she said it was 19. I'm not 100% accurate on that. I'm not sure, but I believe she said 19. So if you add 19 to his total.
Wait, how long was Hank Aaron how long was Hank Aaron in the Negro League? He only hit 19 home runs.
I want to say it was like a year,
like a week.
I want to say he played 1 or 2 seasons.
Okay.
But
this has turned into a baseball show.
But when
real quick.
But when you think about it, it's like, hey, how do you incorporate these records? Do you elevate Satchel Paige to one of the greatest pitchers that the game has ever seen?
Are they going to have an asterisk? Like, you have to.
He was. It's just now you have to publicly acknowledge it.
You have to publicly acknowledge that those guys were good enough.
When you talk about the best hitters ever, now do you put Josh Gibson in those conversations?
You have to.
When you look at the stats, and I mean, and not to, toot my family horn, because Judy Johnson is already in the Hall of Fame. But now, do you elevate his accomplishments from the Negro Leagues to rival that of these major league baseball players that you brag about?
You have to.
People say they talk about the best third basemen in baseball, and they talk about Brooks Robinson. They talk about the Mike Smiths.
Right.
Judy, and it's widely accepted by many people who saw the Negro Leagues and understand the stats in the game that he was better than all of them. So
you have to. And that, so what does that mean? That means that there has to be some type of, for the fans, there has to be some type, like there's already films about Negro Leagues. There has to be some type of something. And like, I don't know, because I'm just thinking about it right now, but there has to be some type of something that comes out. These people, the Negro League players, have to be on these lists, and they have to have these names of their teams on their list. They're probably having asterisks, Negro League player, Negro Leagues, blah, blah. And if they do that, that's going to cheapen it too.
Right.
It's going to cheapen it because it's like, well, what's the Negro Leagues? It's already thought that the Negro Leagues was not on par. What we just told you earlier in the show, and if you missed any of the show, you can go back and check it out on YouTube. And it'll air tomorrow on newtwistradio.com at 5 o'clock. that these teams would at times play each other, and sometimes the black team would win, sometimes the white team would win. So they were equally yoked,
Yes.
to use a 10-7 show type term. They were equally yoked. Okay. My dad sent me something. I don't think I've ever had a chance to show this to you, and I hope you can see it. This picture right here. Okay.
Yeah.
Have you seen? Was I able to show that to you before?
No, I have never seen that before.
Okay, so this is a picture I actually got. Well, it's not. I don't have. My dad has it. He got the picture at the when the MLB All Star game was in Philadelphia back in the 90s. We went to the Fan Fest that was going on the week before, week leading up to the game that they had, and he was able to buy that poster. And some of the Negro League athletes were actually there that were still alive, and they signed the poster.
Awesome.
I would love to see if your uncle was on that poster. So I would, I don't know. I would have to look. I don't even know, but I would have to look and see.
I would be surprised if he wasn't. Just as one of the more widely known athletes from Negro League times, I wouldn't see why he wouldn't be. But
I'll check it out.
Seen images where he's not on it. So
next time he's there. And your uncle, and I've said it on shows before. Your uncle played. My uncle lived. I have a great uncle. He passed away 20 years ago. Who lived down the street from the field in which your uncle played on the team, the Hilldale Daisies, in Yaden and Darby, Pennsylvania. Kind of the field kind of, I don't know how you would, it was kind of straddled Yaden Darby in a sense. I guess, I don't know. But anyway, it's not really nobody cares. Before we wrap up, so because we talked about, there's so much more that we could talk about within this show. Within this topic, we're going to do a whole nother show on it. So be on the lookout for that. Make sure you join our community, and we'll let you know when we're going to do the show. Hit us up. Text the number. I'm going to put the number up here right now.
And to throw it in, before you get to that number, to throw it in, I'm actually writing an article about the next subject that's going to accompany this piece. It's going to be on blocksuite.com coming in January. So stay tuned for that.
Check that out. Can't wait to read it. But if you see at the bottom of the screen, join our community. Text 215-486-0335. Let me say it a little slower for those that don't listen that fast. 215-486-0335. And I know a lot of people that are interested in sports, and especially the topic of the Negro Leagues, would be very interested in what we're going to record for that show. We got one more thing that we wanted to get to, but that topic kind of took a life of its own, and I knew it would, and you knew it would, and that's why we gave it the time we did. But the what were they calling the scandal? I forgot what they're calling the scandal. The pay to play scandal or something.
I believe the legal term that they used was Operation Varsity Blues.
Yes, that is what they call it. Operation Varsity Blues. And if you don't know what that is, of course, that is the college admission scandal, or how everyone, when these rich people got their kids in the colleges that they didn't basically deserve to be in. That's what it was. So we actually have a big dummy award for somebody. But do you want to talk a little bit about it, Ryan? What you came across, and probably a lot of people came across.
Big Dummy Award goes to Olivia Jade, YouTuber.
Big dummy.
You big dummy. Olivia Jade is a YouTuber. Also, she's known on YouTube as Olivia Jade. Obviously, her last name is kept out of that, Gianulli. She is the daughter of Aunt Becky and Mr. Gianulli.
It's funny that you say that, because when I'm not even going to put the person out there, but when I was saying something to somebody earlier, I was like, I was saying the name, and they had no idea what I was talking about. Olivia Gianulli. They had no idea what I was talking about. I was like, Aunt Becky's daughter. They was like, oh, okay.
and they know it right then and there.
Right.
But
Lori, when I think of Aunt Becky, I think of Aunt Becky from Roseanne. But go ahead. Lori Loughlin's daughter. Yeah. Lori
Loughlin and Massimo Gianulli, their daughter. She went on Red Table Talk. I'm a little upset that Jada and the fam did not give it to her the way that I would have, because I don't think she could have got away with the nonsense that she spewed on this Red Table Talk.
I heard Mama ain't like what she was saying though.
No, not at all. Not at all. And she called her straight out, this is the epitome of white privilege, which it was. And it stood out to me. Her, I guess, I don't even know if I want to call it an apology. What she was saying, and actually I'll read the quote. This has been a really eye-opening experience for me and situation, and even though there are a lot of negatives around it and a lot of experience and wrongdoings, it has led me to have a completely different outlook on different situations. What that said to me is,
it sounds prepared.
I got caught doing something wrong, and I'm hoping that you forgive me for what we did, even though it's not my fault. That's what I took from it.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
She also said that she volunteered at an after-school program in South Central LA. These kids don't want nothing to do with you. What are you doing what does that do for anything? I mean, just to be honest, what does it do for anything?
Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me first of all try not to assume stuff about South Central LA, because when I hear South Central LA, first thing I think of is the movie South Central.
Right.
Then what do? I think of other movies. Menace to Society, Boys in the Hood, Snowfall. Like, I just think a whole bunch of stuff, right?
Right.
I'm not saying she didn't volunteer in South Central LA. I just have one question for her. Olivia, how did you get there? I'm just interested in knowing how you got there.
Her daddy's Bentley.
Drive? Where dad's locked up. So did she drive?
Daddy still got the car.
Still got the car. Did you drive? Did you take
He's
the bus?
in jail. She ain't take the bus. She didn't get the full experience. She ain't take the bus.
I want to know, where exactly did you volunteer in South Central LA? I want to know. Because if you see, like I said, I don't know South Central.
Right.
And I don't want to assume. But what I do want to assume, in a sense, is what I don't want to assume is that she was all automatically in a dangerous part of South Central. That's why I'm like, how did you get there? What did you drive? I want to know where you volunteered, what you did. Don't just tell me you volunteered in South Central LA to make me feel like you did something nice for some black folks.
That's what it sounded like to me.
Don't tell me. Like, I want to know how you got there. I want to know, who you helped, how you helped them, because you wasn't tutoring nobody, I hope. I hope you wasn't tutoring nobody. I'll tell you that right now.
Teach us how to lie like you did.
Teach us how to work the system.
Right. So one thing that she said in her apology, what's so important to me is to learn from the mistake. I'm 21. I feel like I deserve a second chance to redeem myself. And then she also went on to claim that she was aware of her privilege and she understands the implications of what she did wrong.
Hold up. Goose said probably a gentrified areas in South Central.
Oh yeah, she
and not even getting gentrified. Already gentrified. Because we know what's happening out there too. You can't fool nobody.
I just think it's hilarious. It's hilarious, the apologies that we get for using. I would rather you just not apologize.
That's what I was going to say. Why even apologize?
You got caught. Take it on the chin. Mommy got 3 months in jail. Daddy got 5 months in jail.
If you're going to apologize, look, I tried to
get over. She got nothing.
I tried to get over. Sorry, I
Fell
tried to get
through.
over.
My bad.
I tried to do what most people try to do at some point during the day in other situations was get
Right.
over.
Get over.
So I'm sorry. No, you ain't got to apologize to me.
Don't
I don't give a
apologize.
damn. I don't give a damn.
We don't care.
Don't care. But the apology, good. I mean, whatever.
So she's the big dummy.
You were
She's the
volunteering
big
in South.
dummy today.
You were volunteering in South Central though. Big dummy. South Central LA. She said South Central LA.
Yes.
Wasn't South Central Beverly Hills, was it?
No. It was Los Angeles. It was
Okay.
specific.
Okay.
It was Los Angeles.
All right.
I'm sure she wanted. She specifically says in the Watts section. So,
The part of Watts where Fred Sanford lived, you big dummy.
wasn't that part of Watts? She did not go to the Sanford and Son Museum. I'm sure she didn't, because she needs that type of education. She needs it.
some type of education because obviously the one she got wasn't going to get her into USC.
And again, I don't understand. And we've had that conversation before. Actually, we had it on the last episode talking about her father.
I know what you're going to say, and I was thinking about that today too, even before you sent me anything. But go ahead.
Just pay for your damn kid to go to school. You could do like Mackenzie Scott and make a sizable donation. The money that you've just paid off to these people, which they said my man got millions of dollars
which would have been more money than you would have paid for tuition.
In tuition.
But they paid this money to get them into the school. So they probably wouldn't even going to get accepted. So they didn't want to waste their money on tuition, knowing that they kid probably wasn't going to make it to graduation.
But so here's the thing, and you know as well as I do, a lot of schools will accept the kid who can afford it before they accept the kid who can't afford it and has to live on financial aid, or we have to give a scholarship. I believe like it's one of those things where if I have $1 million and I can put it out right now, surely we'll accept your child in the school. We will accept to go back to Will Smith. Will Smith would have never went to Bel Air Academy, and I'm thinking as the character. Will would have never went to Bel Air Academy if Uncle Phil didn't have money. You know what I mean? You cut out. You're gone. You on mute. Your audio's cut out. So, but to take it back even to that point, and we know Fresh Prince is a TV show, but there you go. But you
said you're on mute, and I'm like, what's going on? Big unmute button right there. Just click the button, big dummy.
Second big dummy of the day award.
Goes to this guy.
But yeah, it's with money comes privilege, and it is what it is, and that's everywhere. Whether you're black, white, if you have money, the classism is more prevalent right now than almost anything, because there are black people who have money who look down to those that don't, and it's everywhere. It's prevalent. So when you talk about, she didn't have to go to Watts to say, hey, I messed up. I would have rather she went to one of those privileged schools in Beverly Hills and said, hey, don't be like me. Earn it on your own merits.
Right.
Talk to the people that need to hear it, that are thinking they got away with this, or they didn't get away with it. Let me try to innovate on it even further so now I can keep on going. You don't have to go talk to inner city privileged kids, inner city underprivileged kids. They don't care about that at all.
Right. Right. Well, I mean, it is that's your big dummy of the day. That's Olivia Gianulli. Big dummy. Shout out to you, Olivia. You have made the cut. Well, look, we're gonna get out of here. We're gonna wrap this up, man. I mean, this was. I know we got more, but you got to end it early because
definitely
we got to have more to talk about next time.
I got to go do Christmas shopping too. I got to get out there.
Yeah, me too. I got to get out there on the 24th.
Everything closes at 10 o'clock here, so I gotta make sure I get out and get some Christmas shopping.
You got a couple hours. All right, well, I'm gonna let you go do that.
Appreciate you.
I forgot what I was going to say. I was going to tell you I wear like a size XL, double X, or something like that. I don't even worry about it.
Your present's already in the mail. It's already
Okay,
in the
cool.
mail.
I'm good. Well, look, we appreciate you for checking in with us this week on Intelligent
Word.
Ignorance. If we don't get a chance to talk to you next week before the holiday, make sure you have a joyous and safe holiday. Be not only be safe to your body, but be safe, like, you know, COVID safe. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. Y'all know what I'm trying to doggone say.
Take precautions. Be safe out there.
Terry
Watch
said,
it.
poor
Watch
Olivia.
it
Ain't nothing poor about
about
Olivia.
Olivia.
Ain't nothing poor. Anyway, we'll talk to y'all next time here on Intelligent Ignorance. Actually, make sure you text 215-486-0335, and you'll be the first to know when we're coming back on. And we're going to be talking about the Negro Leagues. All right. And for all that being said, for R. Hunter and myself, we're out of here. We'll talk to y'all next time. Peace.